Other interesting business use, you have Keurig Dr Pepper debuting K rounds made of organic containers, no plastic apparently. Now Keurig perhaps was best well known, well now legally known as Keurig Dr Pepper, which is also Dr Pepper Snapple Group, which they purchased. Unfortunately, it's no longer a Texas-based company. Keurig is now headquartered, well, Keurig Dr Pepper globally is headquartered out of the northeast area, and Keurig's rise to fame, I think everyone knows them realistically because of those little pods that you make coffee. They cost, well, way too much for me to buy them, but it's very convenient. You have your little plastic pod, you have the coffees already pre-packaged. All you do is take that piece of plastic with a little coffee in it, slam it into the machine, and the machine makes coffee, which saves you about 18 to 19 seconds of actually grinding coffee beans into good old coffee dust and then pouring that into the coffee receptacle. Truth be told, that's the best ROI you're going to get is just good old drip coffee. But that's just me. I know some folks love the fancy coffees and spending copious amounts of money on coffee in the machines. Nevertheless, that's what really, in my opinion, put Keurig on the map. They made so much money off that brilliant idea. I mean, quite literally, hundreds of millions of dollars, if not $1 billion idea. They were able to, I think that's one of the main reasons Green Mountain, their parent company, they were able to actually buy Dr. Pepper. But one of the issues is, ironically, apparently the man who invented the proprietary patented idea of having a little disposable little coffee pod, ironically, he actually hated how bad it was for the environment because, again, not really easy to recycle because the byproduct, when you stop using it, spoiler alert, if you have never used this before, the machine basically cuts two holes in it. So there's a top, they cut a hole in the little container, water goes through there, and then the bottom it drifts through. Well, the issue at the end of the day, then you have that plastic container, and then the coffee grounds inside. So it's pretty prohibitive to actually recycle. So a lot of people have said that's probably not great for the environment. And apparently, Keurig has now come out with a solution. So now, instead of having a plastic type of container, it looks to be, I don't want to say they ripped off the soil idea, but if you ever got a cheap little soil kit where like a little plant, a potted plant or something, you have like a disc that's about the size of a $50, which is probably aging me, but maybe a silver dollar is actually more accurate. But it's a compressed soil packet, and it's wrapped in some type of, it looked like a little fabric. This looks oddly similar to it. I'm not saying they just copy-pasted that idea, or this probably tastes as good as soil, but it looks like they actually say it's now an organic thing. So it looks like one of those little soil, not coins, but a little soil disc. Now, they say that the new pods are, quote, created from expertly roasted coffee beans that are ground, pressed, and wrapped in a proprietary protective plant-based coating. That, according to the Keurig Dr. Pepper team, which, again, that's a pretty good idea. I'd be fascinated to see what's the actual long-term cost. If it actually is more efficient from a cost perspective, that would be an exceptional win-win. Because, again, then there's less things. Not only, there's a lot of pros to this as well, not just environmental, but if you can make it a win on the dollar amount, maybe it's less. Because again, plastic, the cost of everything is going up these days. But when you're making plastic molds, the molds are tens of thousands of dollars. So there's a big upfront cost with a lot of those, and I'm not sure how many injections you can get from a single mold. But it looks like they said that K rounds, that's what they're going to call them, K rounds, which they're more like K disc. I don't want to say it's a terrible name, but round, it's round, but it's also three-dimensional. It's kind of like a POG, which, let me know in the comments if you even remember what those are. Now, they say that the K rounds notably won't be used in the existing Keurig coffee machines. Instead, Keurig Dr Pepper has geared them towards a yet-to-be-released Ultra brewer, which, again, that's good for them because they're going to force you to buy a new machine. And I also know that with the coffee machine, the company aims to, quote, allow consumers to make a variety of hot and cold barista-style beverages without having to master complex brewing techniques, unquote. Which, as people are trying to pinch pennies in this economy, that's a good idea. I know some people are spending a lot, relatively speaking. They're spending over $1,000 on a coffee machine at home because they're saving not tens of thousands, but they're spending 2 or 3 times that currently at places like Starbucks for fancy drinks with ingredients I can't even pronounce. But they spend a little bit, maybe $1,000 on a home unit, but over time, it's actually a good ROI. Because instead of going to Starbucks every day and spending $7, $20, $30 in coffees, well, you're doing it at home for a couple bucks. And after that upfront initial investment, it usually will pay for itself long term. Now, they also note that Keurig Dr Pepper said the K rounds and the Ulta machine arises from a quote multi-year innovation which incorporates significant intellectual property in beverage pod, appliance, and manufacturing design and processes, unquote. Which, good for the shareholders. That's exactly what you want to hear. I can't imagine how bad if they open source this, or if their competitors like Coca-Cola could just knock this off. That's not great news, because again, you want to be able to make sure you get a good ROI. I'm not sure how much they're spending on research and development, but it'll be interesting to see. Looks like their market cap's around $41.16 billion, to kind of give you a perspective of how large the parent organization is, or how big Keurig Dr Pepper is. Now, can't help but think, I wonder what the initial cost will be for the machine once the machine debuts. And I wonder what the licensing agreements are, if any, because they have this idea for this pod, but what if you have your own blend that you want to put in? Will they allow that? And then will they have third parties? It might actually be harder to quote unquote hack this machine or bypass it. With the current, K cups or that you use in machines, actually someone, I forget the gentleman or the gal who filed the patent, but there's actually a little cute little cup. So instead of being a self-contained cup with the K cup with the coffee already in there, it's the same size, but it's a strainer. You can actually put ground coffee dust into it. So you gotta get they would argue, get the best of both worlds, and you reuse that little reusable strainer cup. So that's a pretty interesting idea. In this case, I don't think that would be possible, because it doesn't sound like it really is just a self-contained packet of coffee. So unless you had your own coffee dust in a compression machine or some type of way to mimic the shape and then the wrap of it, I'm not sure you're going to be easily able to knock this off. So that's probably have a couple of revenue streams for the company. So let me know, is this something that would interest you? It sounds like it's going to be apparently better for the environment. It'd be interesting to see if I'm not sure if it'd be any more convenient. If anything, depending on how durable the coating is, it might actually be more sensitive to breakage and shipping, humidity, depending on where you live. So as a wise man, Thomas Sewell, once said, there's really no such thing as solutions, there's only trade-offs. So the real question is, would you accept the trade-off of this new technology, or would you just prefer the good old $13 drip coffee machine like myself, or perhaps just stick with the current K-Cup infrastructure that you have? As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.